Hey guys, I'm super excited to be here at the Amazon Accelerate conference in Seattle, sitting down with Thor Steiner, the lead of the Generative AI team in the Amazon's ads. And today we're going to talk about the amazing release they did this year with how you can create advertising creative with one click and Generative AI. But before we get there, Thor, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you got here?
My name is Tor Steiner. I lead the Gen AI team within Amazon Ads. We're focused on making creative easy for advertisers on Amazon. I've been in Amazon for 12 years. I've worked all over the place. I spent 9 years in the seller business. And now I've been in the Amazon Ads for the last 2 years. And there's nothing that I care about more than the success of sellers on Amazon, seeing them grow, being able to build tools for them. That's why I'm here.
That's amazing. And I think with AI and everything that the technology have for us, this will be a huge unlocker for sellers.
Oh, I agree.
Can you start by giving us an overview of how generative AI is reshaping the industry?
Oh gosh, there's been so much impact that Gen AI has had on advertising. Advertising feels very much like ground zero for Gen AI. Let me just give an example. We launched image generator last year for advertisers on Amazon. It's a self-service tool. What's amazing about it is that you can just take an ASIN, a detail page, you can provide that, and we'll automatically generate creatives for you. We're making it as easy for advertisers to launch sponsor brands advertisements, for example, as it is to launch sponsor products. And I think this just illustrates how impactful Gen AI is for sellers and also for advertisers. It really unlocks a lot of opportunity for them.
Yeah, I can see that because the fact that right now sellers are able to do with a couple of clicks and now you have an image before where they will need to invest in photo shoots and a team and all of that. It's an amazing unlocker.
I agree.
I see how this technology can be a huge unlocker for small teams that don't have the resources to invest in, photo shoots and ad creative and all of that. How is your technology and what you're doing right now helping those brands unlocking things for them?
You mentioned small businesses, small sellers. It's a very big unlock for them. As you mentioned, as you alluded to, is that they don't necessarily have big teams. They don't necessarily have designers on staff. They may not have an agency, for example, that they work with. And we built this primarily for small businesses, but we've also seen a really big unlock for big business as well. That's been a little bit of a surprise to us. As one example is we launched Image Generator last year, and we had some really big CPG brands come forward and take advantage of our tools as well. For example, Whirlpool, they wanted to update their creative for the holiday season, and they were able to use our Image Generator product to do that really quickly. And that just really illustrates the types of things that these tools can do for advertisers.
Yeah, I can see how that's a huge impact for both small and large businesses. Can you tell us a little bit more about the benefits of using these tools for small or any seller?
The benefits of Gen AI, first of all, it's a really big time savings for them, but also they can create more performant ads. And we did a deep dive over the summer on how Gen AI was benefiting the advertisers that were using our tools. And what we found was that the advertisers that were using it were launching 20% more campaigns, and they were seeing a 4% increase in sales as well. The tools make it easier for them to create performant creative. It allows them to launch more campaigns, allows them to experiment more. For example, they can launch more targeted campaigns at specific audiences. They can update their creative to be more seasonal, to be fresher content. They can target different use cases. And that then allows them to, in turn, start to see a boost in overall performance. And so that's really the benefit, is that by removing creative as a blocker, they're able to do a lot of things that they may not have been able to do before.
So when you talk about generative AI and in the advertising piece, creating images or creating the creative pieces, right? I'm curious to know if there is anything around video, because we know and we've seen the release last year was around images, static images, which is amazing. But is there anything around video, and what are the capabilities that the technology has right now?
I'm glad you mentioned video. We're super excited about video, and video is also going to be a very big unlock for advertisers, perhaps a much bigger unlock. At Accelerate, we're announcing our video generation capabilities. Advertisers, all they have to do is provide an ASIN and we can generate video content for them. There's several things that we can do. One is that we can take a still image and we can provide motion to it. And so you could take a product image generated from image generator and put motion to it. That's pretty exciting.
Wow.
You can also create a multi-scene video. And lastly, we also do video summarization. So you can take long form content from your detail page and convert it to an ad video. So you might have a 40-second demo on your detail page, for example, and you can now create that, you can now convert that into an ad, which is really helpful to a lot of advertisers. It may look like they have all of that content easily accessible, but to convert it to a 6-second ad slot is sometimes challenging.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. I think there's a lot that they can do, especially with all of the different type of videos they get. It's going to be an amazing unlocker. In our conversation, you've touched on the evolution of the generative AI on the Amazon advertising platform. You talk about images, you talk about video. What else is happening in the evolution of the system? Because I know like it came from the very new LLMs to now something amazing. So can you touch on what's the evolution of that technology looks like?
It's really been incredible. I've had a front row seat for the last several years watching it evolve. I think what's really impressed me is how much, for example, how much the image models have evolved over the last 18 months. When we go back 18 months ago, you would prompt it to generate something very simple like oranges on a railing, for example. The oranges would look distorted. They certainly wouldn't be ad ready. But now the models are creating photos that are indistinguishable from those taken by a professional photographer. You can do studio scenes, you can do really creative scenes. It's really amazing what you could achieve now with the technology. That's just over 18 months. I can't imagine what's going to happen over the next 18 months. And we're going to see the same evolution happen with video. It's really been extraordinary. I think what Gen AI does is it gives the average small business a designer on staff that they may not have had before. It's a really powerful evolution that's happened.
In your experience, what are you seeing that the advertisers that they don't have this creative, they don't have these capabilities, when they do it and when they have it with your generative AI tool, like what do you see the results are in the platform?
That's a great question. It was one of the things that we were looking at as well, is that our goal was to help advertisers that didn't have access to creative today. And so we looked at campaign performance with and without Gen AI images. And we saw that there was a really big improvement. It gave us confidence that this was really helping advertisers out.
Yeah, one thing that comes to mind when you talk about generative AI and the different audiences that, the potential of creating different assets for those audiences is the possibility of doing that in a campaign. So targeting different audiences within the same product. Is that possible with this tool?
It is, and we've seen this as one of the common use cases that advertisers use image generator for. And I'll just give you one example. If you're selling running shoes, for example, you may have specific use cases for that running shoes. You may be targeting trail running, for example, or you may be targeting a demographic. You may be targeting an audience in New York City, and so you put a city behind it, or you put a trail behind it. You can really tease out all the audiences and target them with your creative using image generator.
When you use this technology as an advertiser and a seller, you mentioned adding an ASIN and getting the assets. There is also a possibility of prompting the system to get exactly what you want?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's also a capability that we support. We didn't know early on as to whether advertisers would prefer typing in their own prompt or using something like their detail page to feed into the system. We've actually been surprised. We thought that more advertisers would choose to do an open prompt, but in fact, we've seen most of them just using the images that we've created from the detail page. I think there's a little bit of a learning curve that advertisers are going through today. They're not necessarily certain how to prompt the system to generate high quality assets. And so we're trying to do more and more to help them out along the way.
That's amazing. And how do you see generative AI changing the landscape of the advertising industry in the couple of next years?
It's going to be really exciting to watch. It's hard to really predict how it's going to evolve over the next couple of years. Obviously, with the Gen AI models, it's having a big impact on creative. I think we're going to see the evolution, the speed of evolution that's happened over the last few years. I think that's going to continue. I think we're going to see a lot more evolution on video. I think it's very much day one for video. And I'm very excited to see how that plays out over the next couple of years. However, the big thing I think is going to happen is that it's going to be much easier for advertisers to launch rich media campaigns. I see the speed of evolution of AI continuing for the next several years, perhaps even like further than that. Sellers on Amazon, they started off with sponsored products, then they started doing things like sponsor brands. And I'd be interested to know if Gen AI really unlocks things like Prime Video ads as well. I think one day it'll be as easy as it is to launch a sponsor products ad today on Amazon.
I think this technology is extremely exciting for anybody that is on Amazon, because not only for the advertisers, but seeing that this technology is already available, and I'm very excited to potentially see it in other areas of the business, right? But we talk about how this generative AI can create images, can create videos, and in the future we'll be able to make things even easier. Are there any final thoughts that you want to touch on before we close this?
I'm excited to see, right now it's Q4. We're going to be going into the holiday season. I think my final thoughts on this, I've really had a front row seat over the last couple of years. And I dig into campaigns all the time. I look at creative all the time. I think there's a really huge opportunity for sellers here. I've worked on seller tools for a long time, and I always look for signals that this is really working for sellers' businesses on Amazon. And I think there's a real opportunity. I've seen advertisers come in and within moments create brand new creative for their ad campaigns. And so I really encourage sellers to go out and try these tools out. I really think it's going to be a really big unlock for them, particularly during like the most important sales cycle of the year.
Yeah. And one of the amazing things about the technology that you're building is that it's free. So this doesn't cost anything to do it. So thank you so much, Thor, to sitting with me. And
thank you so much.
Thank you. And yeah, teach us about the generative AI in the advertising world. And for the ones of you watching this, make sure to stay tuned, because we have more content that happen at Amazon Accelerate 2024. So yeah, keep watching.